G'day and welcome to ABT Live number 57. I like to brag now that my Tackle Fridays have overtaken ABT Lives now, because we're up to 60 something in the Tackle Fridays. If you don't watch it, Friday afternoons, Steve Morgan channel. But we are running a pretty much all live show tonight. It is a Samaki BREAM Queensland Open special because, of course, the Samaki BREAM Queensland Open is on this weekend. It's a 2-day event. It's not like the Australian Open with 3 days, but it is 2 days and it's on 2 cool southeast Queensland arenas. 1 day is on Moreton Bay, gigantic arena all the way from the power lines at the mouth of the Logan River. And you can fish as far north as Caloundra. So that's the whole Pumice-Stone Passage, all of Moreton Bay, all of the creeks in the Pumice-Stone Passage, the Caboolture River, the Pine River, the Brisbane River. The Logan River is actually in that, pretty sure, yeah, the Logan is in it. Massive arena with only 21 boats at the moment. So it's you literally have a lot of space to yourself, and whatever sort of bream fishing you like doing, you can potentially lead the Queensland Open on that Moreton Bay part of the arena. Second day on the Gold Coast, and that's a whole different can of worms. It's south of the power line, so everything you didn't fish on day one, you can fish on day two, or vice versa. We go wherever the weather's best, we fish the bay. Whenever the weather's windiest, we fish the Gold Coast. And if the weather's the same both days, we'll fish the Gold Coast on day one and Moreton Bay on day two, because we think Moreton Bay is a place where you can make a real move. You mightn't do so good on the Gold Coast, but you might bang a 4 kilo or a 4.5 kilo limit on Moreton Bay and come right back into it. So that's what tonight's all about. We have got a couple of really cool guests on tonight's show. One of them, Blake O'Grady, previous Queensland BREAM Open champion, and he's got a bit to do with the design of the new JML, the new crab weights. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but also about some strategies and tips and tactics about the BREAM Queensland Open. We have a digital appearance from Josh Lowry. Josh isn't in studio tonight. He's a busy man, but we did go out filming with him to film some really cool stuff about their new crankbaits for after. But we also caught up with Josh and got a little bit of Reddit history. So we're going to catch up with him tonight and see that. And of course, we have the man who owns all of the major trophies at the moment, Jame McKeown. They're actually in the background here. There's the BREAM Grand Final trophy there. There's Jeff, the BREAM Queensland Open trophy here. And somewhere around here, I don't know where it is, there he is over there, there's the Australian Open trophy, the Greg Lee Memorial Trophy. So we're going to knock a photo of Jamie up later tonight because, as he says, I might never have these ever again at once. And Jamie, what's your chances of having them all again at the end of next year? Pretty good? He's sitting in the green room over there and he's just cool as a cucumber. Inside he's saying, oh yeah, I'm going to have them all next year. Blake's sitting next to him going, no, not even close. So it's all about the Queensland Open tonight. If you're a Barra guy, sorry. If you're a bass guy, a little bit of a talk about the Bass Angler of the Year, but not much bass techniques. It is all about the bream. We're going to talk about what's been happening. I've got Nicole mic'd up over there. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. You won't see it because she's running the computer. We were going to have her sitting down here next to us talking about the AOY stuff, but guess what? None of these jokers can run the computer. So Nicole is going to chime in where possible. What's been happening, Nicole?
We went to Foster.
We went to Glenbourne first.
We went to Glenbourne.
Don't you have a set of these awesome notes that you made?
I don't have a set of the notes
so I look cleverer than you. All right, awesome. Well, we went to Glenbourne. It was a Shimano sponsored round.
It was a very full Glenbourne.
Oh, it was 114% when we went there. And the anglers all got a pretty special gift from Shimano. And we're giving actually some of the leftovers away tonight. They all got a crankbait and they all got some
line.
Some Kariki braid. And I've got some here. We're going to get to the prize in a while, but this is the stuff that the guys got. They got the braid, the bass lures, one of the flash boost technology crankbaits, the Kariki braid in 8 pound. Every angler got that, so good to see Shimano kicking in for the bass anglers. And Shimano, a growing sponsor in ABT. You know, they were in a little bit last year. They're in a bit more this year, and they've got a really cool event at the end of this year, the Victorian Open, that we'll get to when we do the grand final. So everyone got those things there. And Nicole, who was the winner of Glenbourne?
Two-time grand final champion, Braden Shue.
There you go. See, I knew you got that one. What about the non-boater? You remember who that was?
The non-boater champion was...
Ryan
Bollard.
There you go. See, put her on the spot there. So great effort. Braden really cracked them right up as far as he could go up the lake. It was a big effort to get there, especially on the second day when there was a heap of fog around Nicole. It was 6 knots and he said about half of the journey to the top of the lake was at 8 knots, 6 knots, 8 knots, whatever it was speed limited in the fog. And he said he didn't fish his spot till after 9 o'clock in the morning. It was like 2 hours by the time he got up there. So
It was heavy too.
good to see him doing the right thing. But man, he left himself a little window to catch those fish because the bass tournaments are 1 hour shorter on the second day. I don't know why. I think it's because everyone wants to just drive home that night. It's an artefact.
Just is.
Right. So and then we went to Foster for a whole week. Nicole, describe the weather for the first tournament.
Oh my goodness, is all I've got to describe it. First time in my ABT life over the last 8 or so years where we didn't even try, or I didn't even try to do an, oh no, I did try to do an event setup. I got as far as putting a table up in the park and then watch the table roll down the park. The wind was just
So it was the back of a van weighing, and it was a bit different. We had the bump tubs up because with like 100 kilos of water, the bump tub doesn't go anywhere. But the anglers would say at the bump tub, they'd be looking around going, where's the weigh? And then you'd have to point them around to the back of the van. We had Bridget sitting in the back of the van there, all sort of out of the wind, and I was sitting out of the wind. And we actually got the weighing done pretty well. Like the back of the van is a pretty windproof spot. And it was, that first event won by Mark Healy. And of course, the non-boater side won by
young Ethan Glover.
You got that one right. And when Mark won, he needed, you need like 2.5 kilos to win. And he gave us about a 4 kilo bag of bream. And it's like, I'm like, dude, just you and me here. This is a moment. We're going to share a moment here. Let's see if you win this tournament. Bang, you won it. There you go. Get out of here, let those fish go. So it was a very different win to lots of Mark's recent wins. He needs some variety in his win. They can't all just be cheering crowds and dropping the last bag on the scales in public. So that was great. That was the first Foster round. And I suppose the conversation was all, is it going to stand up for a second one? But because of the gale force winds in the first one, we cut the lake out. So the lake wasn't there. So in the second tournament, lake was open, of course. So everyone's racing to the lake thinking the lake's going to be awesome. And the lake didn't really play for the boater side of it. But man, the non-boater side it played. How good was the win by Mark Street? Tell us the story.
It was an emotional win. He had reasons for doing what he's doing. He lost his son.
Yep.
He told us the story, and there was, a lot of emotion when he held up that trophy.
That's right, and the son would have been proud, and I think every single person of that weigh-in was like, that is an awesome story. So it was great to see. He got really close in the first event. He was leading the first event in the non-boaters after day one. Only came in with 2 fish on day 2, so did himself a bit of a disservice. But on that second day of the second tournament, he was fishing with Drew Griffith out of his 23-foot gigantic Titanic. And Drew, he might have only got a couple of fish himself, but he really put Mark onto the kicker that he needed to win. He had a kilo fish there, and that was the one that got him over the line. And
he was proud too, Drew. I was watching him in the crowd. He was just as, if not a little bit more proud than Mark of that one.
I think so. So Drew, great job. It's awesome to have your non-boaters win a title. If you're not doing any good yourself, then you can say, man, my nonny won there. I am the guide. So it was great to see Drew from Queensland doing that for Mark. So that leads in, I suppose, to Angler of the Year. It's coming to the pointy end for the Bream guys. Are we going to do the Bream ones first? I've got a big pile of AOY points here. Do I get a nod that we can do Bream first?
Yeah.
That's a good segue. Let's start with the, what do you want, boaters or non-boaters?
Let's start with the non-boaters.
So let's throw a slide up for the non-boaters. Leading that at the moment, and let's say this one is a bit of a foregone conclusion. Nathan Booth absolutely belting it at the moment. 479 points, he's sitting on top. A real cluster behind him. Cole Wilson, 446. Sam Rako, 441. Lance Marsh, 437. Al Lavelle, 434. All of those guys, if they had just could throw out a stinker, they'd probably be right up there. But unfortunately, they've only got one more chance now to upgrade an event, and Nathan is too far away.
In Foster, Cole Wilson had already done all the maths and stuff, and I think, Nathan's looking pretty good.
Well,
there.
I reckon if Cole had a couple of wins, he would have given Nathan a real scare, but Cole did not have a couple of wins. So non-boater side, good to see a lot of the regular people up there. But guys like Sam Rako, I think it's one of his first 1 or 2 seasons. He's doing well in the back of the boat there. And some of the guys, like Neil Kelly in 10th there, he's already won a grand final. He's got nothing left to prove. Neil's the man that can just catch him. But thank you very much to all the non-boaters who have travelled the country, enjoying fishing in the back of the boat with some of our boaters. And we do have some Korean non-boaters there that just absolutely love it. I call them the retirement set. The Parkos, the Gordon Pullens, Al Murrays, those sort of guys, they live for it.
There is a little bit of a demographic to our Bream non-boaters at the moment, so.
We are going to get a defibrillator for the band next year, aren't we? We are, seriously.
It might be worth it.
Just an investment. Let's go to the boaters, and the real story in the boater angler of the year, Nicole, is that still it is mathematically possible for Mark Crompton to win. Tell us the situation. What needs to happen?
I think we went out by the time we got to the second round at Foster, we told Mark Crompton to be in with a shot. He had to win or come second or higher in this event, and Healy had to be 8th or worse.
And so what happened?
Crompton won, and Healy came 8th.
So you can't write a script better than what happens in real life. So there you go. Cromo's 4 points behind there, and at the Tweed, Mark's either come first or second, I think, at the Tweed, and Mark's got
It's the same story.
Mark and Mark.
Yeah, so
Crompton
Healy needs to come 8th or lower for Crompton to take out, so long as Crompton comes second or first. And then if Mark Healy comes anything higher than 7th, he will take that title out again.
Those two are going to be acting cool as a cucumber at the Tweed, but inside they're going to be... I'm going to say, I'm putting money down. I'm putting money on Mark Healy still, because it's good to have the points on the board, but don't write Cromo out. It's like last event we said, Foster could do it all over, but it wasn't. So I think on the inside they'll be a little bit more like jelly, those guys. They'll be nerves at the start line, I think, at least for those two guys. Look at that guy in third, Steve Morgan. He's out of it. Haven't had a bad season, but just those two guys have just absolutely killed it this year. So good on them for being up there. Look at Mario Vukit, 462.
We got 3 Victorians.
4th, 5th and 6th. And I think that reflects the Victorians travelling a lot this year so they can all make their home grand final. It's you have to think a Victorian is a favourite to win the grand final.
Well, we looked at the cut line for the grand final as it stands at the moment. I think you're still going to be sitting in that sort of 25th AOY position. So, and there's a few keen Victorians sitting sort of 26, 27, 28 that are making the trip up to the Tweed to try and get those last points and qualify.
I am not going to give Victorians a hard time for not travelling anymore, because they do travel. Good on them. And you know what? They're doing pretty well. Like guys like Declan Betts was up there at Foster. Steve Pryke came second in that first event. Even guys like Matt Kearton, he improved every time he was there. Pete Brukel, he snagged the big broom in that second event there. So
Timmy Bruce, I think he's still fighting for his spot, so he's eyeing off the Tweed.
So there you go. I think it's a real interesting dynamic there. Paul Langley, how good did he do at Foster? 2 third places there. Made the DT podcast twice in a row. And probably a cut and paste interview as well, because he did concentrate in the lower part of that system. Scotty Wilson, that's a bit atypical. Scott Wilson normally gets into the grand final last man in, but he's top 10 angler of the year at the moment. And have a look at number 10, Steve Lampsakianos. He won about $700 at Foster, and I told him that was about 0.1% of return of investment, how much he's actually spent broom fishing. So good on you, Steve. You're making this gig really pay off. Awesome to see you do well.
At the Hawkesbury, Steve's accountant actually did show up at the event.
Oh, his CFO, yes. Chief Financial Officer. And that's not his wife, that's not Stacey. That was his CFO.
Actual guy.
And what did he say?
He was asking a few questions. It's all right, Steve, I had your back.
We've always got your back, Steve. Let's go to the Bass Angler of the Year, starting with the non-boaters. Man, it is, and I'm just going to move chairs here because it looks weird when I'm looking off camera. It is a real race, the non-boater AOY, isn't it? Like Ryan Vanderberg, 280 points. Ryan Bollard, 279. Jason Patterson, 279. Damien Winters, 278. Barry Reynolds, 278. So the top 5 places separated by 2 points, and there's 2 opportunities to upgrade those points at Somerset Wivenhoe, Nicole. I've never seen an AOY race that close between 5 people.
No, and just before Glenville, like when we had the double header at the start of the season, like Ryan Vanderberg, you would have just backed him to take it all the way in.
And he only caught 1 fish at Glenbourne, I remember. I saw him catch it, actually, and I go, here you go, young fella's away again.
Yep. But no, Glenbourne might be the one he's looking to throw out come the end of the year. So, no, nice and tight. It's going to be very interesting and in September. And
remember that the Bass Angler of the Year this year, it's only 3 events. So there are guys, if you've had 1 high finish in a fishing Somerset Wivenhoe, you can probably still win Angler of the Year. So if you're a non-boater that has got a top 10 and follows it up with 2 top 3s, you can top all of those guys. So it is literally wide open. Now, we're only 3 events. Now, the other interesting part about the Somerset Wivenhoe doubleheader in August is that all of the Australian bass team is not going to be there. And a crap bass angler myself, and maybe some of you guys, may enjoy that, because every single one of those guys that's out means 1 more place that I'm going to get higher in Somerset Wivenhoe. So I like that. Thanks, guys. Let's have a look at the boater side of it. We got Mick Johnson, who was last year's Angler of the Year, leading on 290 points. He's not going to be there at the next two events, so that is his final points tally. Mitchell Cone, 284. Who else in that top 10 is going overseas, Nicole?
So Benny Hay, we'll see him definitely at Somerset Wivenhoe.
Yeah, but he's not overseas. Langford gone.
Has got his ticket booked.
Braden?
Simon will be there, and then Braden Shue. So that's
4 of the top 6 aren't going to be there. So, man, that is a wide open race as well. And guys like Simon and Ben, like Ben particularly, he's got 2 top 2 places and a stinker. He just needs to throw that stinker out. He'll go racing past Mick and Mitchell. So, boys did what they could.
Yeah, like guys like Cameron Hall. He had a great time at Wivenhoe last year.
That's right.
If he backs it up at Somerset.
Who knows? So 100%, it's all in the air at the moment. I'd rather be in the top 10 than not in the top 10, but I ain't in the top 10. So it'd be interesting fishing those 2 events. It was a real success last year fishing that midweek event at Somerset. We had nearly 40 boats, I think, Nicole, to that event.
Yeah,
midweek. Everyone enjoys the cooler water when the fish come up shallow. And the lack of jet skiers and skiers on a weekday was absolute bliss. We all know the fish bite better during the week at Somerset. And that event actually proved it. That was when Mark Reinbot brought in 1.0 million kilos of bass for 5 fish.
Do you reckon we'll see another 13
kilos for 5 fish? No, I don't think so, but prove me wrong. Guys like Mchuan, who would have come like 20th in the tournament for 2 kilos, his non-boaters 2 big fish, if you added them together, would have been nearly 8 kilos, I think. It was ridiculous, or at least 7. So they live in there. We just don't know if they're going to come out or not. And so that's the wild card, I suppose, for bass. So that's where we're sitting with the non-boaters at the moment. Let's have a look at what we got on the list here. Prizes tonight. Yeah, we got the prizes. We're going to give you one of the swag from the bass tournament from Shimano. What else are we going to give away? There's a sneaky little Xeric fish trap there for the barras. There's some Crush City heavy hitters there for the barras. You like your Brimbos? This is a Brim show. There's a whole lot of bait junkie plastics there. I think we've got some risky critters, some wave minnows, some grubs. They're all there. We've got a couple of, we've got another sort of braid, the atomic lines we got there. We've got a pigeon pair of Rapala jerk baits. If you're a bass or a barra guy, I'm pretty sure you're going to like those. We've got some of the awesome duo Brim jerk baits. So if you're a southern Brim guy, jerk bait those things around for blacks and you will not be disappointed. Got a couple of little vibes there. They could be Brim or bass, those guys there. A couple of little atomics. Everyone loves these when I have them on Tackle Fridays, the atomic whitebait 75s. These things look grouse in the water, hyper realistic. So I've got a pack of them in there for you. Who can forget the story from Mr. Turner last time when he won the Hunter tournament on one of these things, the Atomic Shiner 60. So there's one of those in there. There's a pair of scissors to make sure you can't take this on carry-on on the airplane. And this will allude to something happening later tonight. There's a couple of packs of the Maracue crabs in there. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later on. So how do we decide what's going to be in the prize pack? We pick a box and we fill it till it's full. So if you want to enter that, what was the mechanic, Nicole? Tell us where you're from.
Tell us where you're watching
Tell us
from.
where you're watching from. Doesn't matter if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Throw the comments there. Nicole monitors each of them and she eeny, meeny, miny, mows someone out of that. So away you go. Into that one. Let's. I think we might be dropping to an ad. We're going to come back and magically we're going to have Blake O'Grady with us, previous Queensland Open champion and sort of designer of this thing here, the crab weight. Magically he'll be there after these ads. Ta-da! There he is. Big Fish Blake. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me.
How good was the ribs that Nicole cooked for dinner?
They just melted in your mouth.
They were pretty good, actually. Bit of a tradition when you come down and actually do a live segment. A lot of guys will test it. Nicole will get the slow cooker out, or she'll get some sort of magic going. And man, we had one night, wouldn't we have Timmy, Dicko, Dan Stead. We had about 500 kilos of humans, and you filled them all up. You did well, Nicole. I know you haven't got a microphone at the moment, so you can't defend yourself. Blake, your claim to fame, your name's on the BREAM Queensland Open trophy. On Jeff, you've had him home for a year, mate. You know where the secret Jeff word is?
Yeah, the old Aaron Sharp's naming.
Sharp's naming, yes, it's on there. And Sharpie actually made this trophy base as well. So it was supposed to be attached to the trophy, and we're going to attach
the dodgy work. Hey, as
when this name things fill up, we're going to have to add that so we can keep names going down the side. So it'll get bigger and bigger as life goes on. So Blake, I remember fishing with you as a non-boater back in Malakuta and Gippsland Lakes years ago, mate. You've done the whole ABT thing from non-boater to boater to Open champion. You've followed the path.
Yeah, it's been a journey actually. I did 3 years as a non-boater, so it was definitely a learning curve, and I learned a lot of stuff that I still use today from that whole trip. So recommend it for anyone who's going to do it. And
I think you won. Did you win at Malakuta? I think
Yeah.
you won a trophy. So you've got a non-boater trophy. You've got one of these trophies. You just haven't got an ABT qualifier trophy.
Yes, that's the hardest one. It keeps alluring me.
Big fields.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I pressure myself out of it sometimes.
Oh, you 100% talk yourself out sometimes. Like, yeah, there are some people who do a lot of research in a calm and measured fashion. There are some people that do research and confuse themselves. And there are some people that don't do any research and just wing it on the day. And sometimes each of those techniques works, and sometimes it spins you out. Tell us about Foster. I think you went to Foster with some pretty high ambitions, but it kicked your ass, that joint, didn't it? And that's not because you're no good at fishing Foster. It's just because if you make the wrong decisions on the day, things can spiral, can't they?
Oh yeah, I got a thing that happens to me all the time. When it starts to spiral, it's hard to get hold of it again. It's like cutting the old Roman candle off, with the parachute. So
yep.
I think that's just something you learn as you get, into it a few more years. You start to learn you are making mistakes like that, and you just got to adjust. But
yeah, if you don't make the same one twice, you're doing all right.
Yeah,
because you'll eventually sort yourself out, I think.
Yeah, exactly right. So I just sort of follow a path and realise it's wrong, and then I don't know, I still have fun. So it's not like I get upset. And
do you dig in sometimes and go, I wanted to win like this, and I'm not catching them. I am going to show those bream what they want to eat.
I've done that heaps of times. Yeah, I do it heaps. I'm just so stubborn. As like, I have Lauren a lot of times say to me, you know how they won it, don't you? I said, yeah, why didn't you change? I'm like,
no,
not changing.
I was going to catch them on this or that or whatever. Let's hark back to the time you got your name on Jeff here. Yep. From memory, you won that tournament fishing Redcliffe, which is a place you really like fishing, and you really stuck to it. I think it was, did we have 2 days in the bay?
Yeah, there's one a few times we did have 2 days because we had a Gold Coast round during the week.
So we did it all during so that played into your...
Yeah, so I was like, oh, perfect, just up the road.
And you did what you liked doing.
Yeah, I love doing that. So if I can fish Redcliffe every day of the week, I would. So that suits my style. I like cranking, lures on tops of rocks, and I always do. And every time I find a venue, I look for them, and I find them, and sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. So it's just a part of it.
I think so, and I think this year's a little bit different. You only get 1 day on Moreton Bay in it, and you can attest it is such a massive arena. It's like nearly as big as Gippsland Lakes from end to end, but there is more rivers and stuff going into it. Like you can really miss the fish by 50 k's.
Oh, easily. Like my trip is usually a minimum 40 k's every time I start. Or if we start at Cleveland, it's 40 k's to Redcliffe. So I know what that trip's like. And when you come back, sometimes it's not as nice as when you went there. So you've got to adjust for time. That's for sure. Do you actually come off the gas a bit and drive for comfort, or do you just smash it? Never. That's why I come back at 50 k's an hour. I just cruise over the waves, and I see you sometimes. You're playing aeroplanes and submarines on the way back. Yeah, I go to work 5 days later and still hurting. So. And so does your gear too. I heard your sounders aren't working at the moment because you probably hit them too hard. They had a bit of a nosedive and caught a bit of a wave and slammed together. So pro tip from someone who's broken a lot of gear over the years: just come off the gas a bit. You save money on gas and you break fewer sounders. Because you're a lot older than me, mate. My body might be the same age as you if you keep beating yourself up. Now, one of the things that I've been involved with you recently is we had a visit from the Marikyu guys in Japan, Mr. Shu and Orimoto, and Tony and Dean and some of the Australian pro staff, really doing some final bits of work on the Marikyu crab weight. So it's been published on socials. It's not a secret anymore that you're doing it. But if you're watching the show, tell us about the crab weights because they're a fairly unique looking jig head. Tell us what they do. So it was something they come up with, I think 3 years ago. I was looking to get back into the Marikyu crab and I couldn't find a jig head that would suit it, and they're so hard to fish without any other assistance. And I just thought to myself, I like that sort of style. I think that if we put that inside it, we'll be able to make it happen. And I sat there racking my brain for about 6 months trying to work out how I was going to do it, and then it's backwards. So what people don't realise, it's all backwards to a normal jig head. It goes into the bait the opposite way. That's right. So you push this, and this is a heavy one here. Yeah. You actually push that up through the crab, and then you tie your line on the top. That's right. So that's why this is actually backwards as well. Yep. So it holds the crab on. It can't slide up the line. Well, it can't go that way because there's the T-piece at the end, and the 2 super sticky sharp hooks on there. And when we fish them for those couple of days, man, the fish grab and they hook up. Oh man, you hook them in weird places too because they're grabbing the body mainly. So all you're doing is loading up on them, and so it's mainly on the drop that I fish. That's why I like to fish. I only fish the drop, and I'll burn it back, and then I'll throw it back in again.
And if you're fishing a drop, you can fish the super light one, can't you?
Well, that's why I've made it so there's 4 different weights because I found that when I had the lightweight, sometimes when it's windy, it starts to belly the line, and it starts to pull away from where I wanted. So we just increased until we come with 4 weights.
So that's the super light one, then a light, and then a medium, and the super heavy one there. And what I noticed as well fishing them is when you put a bait on, man, you get a lot of fish per bait. Like you can catch 10 fish on one bait. It's like I thought you'd lose baits pretty regularly, but you'd use one for half a session.
Yeah, it was something that Tony did ask me in testing with the first prototypes that come out. I caught 70 fish on the poo pipe in 4.5 hours, and there was 4 different species. And he said, how many plastics did you go through? I said, I don't know, probably 3. And he goes, 3?
No!
And he said, oh, what do you mean? I said, they don't tear, they hold. They're just so good. It's literally an aqua prawn,
it's
but
a crab.
A crab design.
And one thing that you'll know that I love fishing treble-baited lure, like treble-baited lures, the fish hook themselves.
Essentially
you just start winding them on, don't you?
It's essentially a blade.
That's it. So yeah, and that's interesting that the 2 trebles, when you put it on the right way, the claws sit right next to it. The brim try to eat the claws, and they end up on the treble. And you don't need to put floats on them if you can. You can want to put floats on them.
You can do anything you want. You can mix it up. You can because it's central weighted. They'll flutter down perfectly flat every single time. I've tested them in the pool and watched them go down. And there's another thing, you can skip every single weight, so they all skip.
They all skip.
And it doesn't matter which way they land because the pattern is reversible. So when it goes down, all it does is
the hooks go the other way.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't
upside
tangle
down
up.
is the right way up.
That doesn't matter. So it was something that we discovered like after thinking, why don't these foul up? And I got into the pool and I'm like,
they're always right.
They flip over. It doesn't matter.
Now, this is the bait you're looking for to put on the maricue crabs. They've been around for a while actually, and they weren't a hit at the start, but I think that's because putting these on a jig head is not the optimal way to hook a fish on them.
No, well, I used to use them thinking these are great because you've got to bite all the time, but you
never hooked them up.
You never hooked them up. So I figured they work, and I just revisited something that was new, that was old, and
reinvented it. So look, I think it's a great option. Of course, the cranker crab is a ubiquitous lure across Australia, but it's not made of biomaterial, so it might taste a little bit different. So if you've got real finicky brim, maybe they want to have a crack at the bio bait instead. And you keep your crabs here. I notice you got them in the aqua stocker, and that's whole heap of baits there using the. Tell us about the fluid. Tell us about this.
Oh, the fluid's so good because you know how many times you have like other brands that you run out and they start to dry out, and then you get to a point you're like, oh, what am I going to do with these? And you've got nothing to top them up except another packet.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you just juice them up like that, and we've got a UV one as well, which works great. And I have tested that too, and it turns them a nice like it changes the colour of them if you leave them in long enough. So it was just like something different as well. Like, oh, well, we don't have that colour, let's make another one.
I reckon Jame McKeown's old enough to know in the old days when the guys used to catch brim on mullet cut, real brim fishermen would just grab a bit, have it in there. You reckon you'd have a little bit of a swig?
Just before an event, I usually have half a bottle.
And then you will literally piss excellence, won't you? Like Ricky Bobby. So there you go. There's the aqua crabs, and I think you will see in the next 12 months there will be some marinas where these will make a real difference. I really love the idea of that real light one and that finesse crab that you can skip into places and it just wafts down. And the big heavy one might plummet and be great for 20 feet, but man, fishing pontoons and that little one's got to be.
Well, it's still cast great too. That's the other thing too.
Well, these are heavy enough, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's like got the weight same as an aqua. So they cast like bullets. So occasionally you do pump it into place and go, ooh, maybe give it a little bit of curry there. So
that's awesome. So we've talked a little bit about the crab weights now. Let's talk about the upcoming BREAM Queensland Open. How do you prepare for the Open? Do you do a lot of research? Do you put it out of your mind? Do you sit up at night thinking about it? Do you get super coached by Lauren at home? What's the deal?
It used to be all of it. And since we've had Roman, it's been a little bit different. It's
Take your focus away a bit?
Yes, it's like it's hard to just get time to do it now. So it's kind of like I said to this one, because I've prepared for other events this year and done terrible. Like, well, not
just
terrible.
wing it.
I just thought to myself, I know this arena just as good as anyone else, and I've got my favourite spots, and I'm just going to stick to what I know, and if it turns out, it turns out. If not, I'm going to end up the same as what I normally do.
Now, cool thing about the Samaki BREAM Queensland Open is it's done on the ABT app, which means that if you're watching it, you can follow that scoreboard each day on abt.org.au. Nicole will make the front page of the website, the one that has a scoreboard link to it. Are you a scoreboard watcher?
Not until I've got my bag.
Until you got your bag.
If I got my bag, I'll go have a peek to see what's happening, and I can sort of work out where everyone is by the thing usually anyway, especially in these events. So sometimes I know I've made a bad decision. Sometimes I know I'm doing all right.
I like looking at it because if I'm on good fish and I go, oh, do I need... Well, you don't have to lay off in Moreton Bay because you're not there the next day. But in at events in generally, if I'm up there and I'm catching all the same size fish, I'll literally say, you know what, I'm just going to back off and go looking for something else. But like they say in, what is it, in The Water Boy? Don't hold anything back in the Queensland Open because you're not going to be there the next day. You're not going to be there till a year's time. So, yeah, I think it's maybe a slightly different strategy where you just keep on catching all you can all day and throw it to the wind, mate. So your other famous moment that I remember from you in the Queensland Open is when you got on to a trawler bite on the Gold Coast once when they were unloading a longliner, and it was just before we put in the rule where you can't catch your next fish until you let go of your last fish, and you'll just pole them in one at a time. And we let the observers help with the scoring.
Well, that was you said that, so I
dedicated to right. Your poor observer had to put 70-something fish on your thing. It was just like 76 fish he put in the app, and he's going through them there. You haven't had a glory bite like that ever since there, have you?
I actually have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Not an event?
No, not an event, though. That's the thing. But
they've got to be unloading something that's spilling over the edge, don't they?
It gets a bit boring when you're not doing an event. It's not the same.
Not the same when you just, that's an upgrade.
Yeah, that could be just like 1 centimetre here, 1 centimetre there. So
I suppose a part of your Gold Coast plan is in the morning having a bit of a sneak across and look across to the trawlers and see if there's anything unloading.
I think most people will know I'll be in there.
But what if all the trawlers are out and there's no one unloading?
I like getting 1 or 2 and then leaving.
All right, so no one try and race Blake. Let Blake have it for the start.
You can get it. I don't care.
No. Blake is the mayor of the trawlers. So and look, you've done your time there. You know how to fish it, I think, better than anyone. So it's going to be interesting. Gold Coast, they can fish all the way from the power line, so the jumping pin's in play. I'm sure Jame will be sneaking up to some sneaky northern canals maybe. All of the canals are in play, the river, the bridge, all the way up the Nerang River, casino. Man, both of the arenas, you can be a long way away from the guy that's winning it if you're at the other end and he's doing well.
It's bad when you have a partner that knows fishing as well as you do and says, where did they win it last year? And you know that it's miles away from where you're going to go.
Something where you don't want to do.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. And she says, well, you know it can be won there. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm going where I'm going.
Super coaching is super coaching. And if you're watching Lauren, I think your super coaching is great. If we create a bit of animosity the week before the Open, that might be my mind games. Jamie's in the back smiling there. Anyway, look at him. That's awesome, mate. Any other comments before we jump to a few ads and we'll magically make you disappear and come back with Josh?
No, mate, just all the best for the weekend. Hopefully you have a good weekend.
Oh, yeah, good luck, fellow competitor, mate.
Same with you, Jamie. Good luck, mate.
All I can say is, in this, all of the cast here tonight, well, I don't count Nicole, because you have actually fished a Queensland Open with me once, when it was teams. We didn't win. Jamie's won it about 630 times. You've won it once. I've never won it. I've never won it when it's been called the Queensland Open. Timmy and I won it when it was a boat show event like 15 years ago, but we're not counting that. So one day I want to beat you suckers on the home water. Isn't it weird how I can't win tournaments on my home water? I'm rubbish at it. I'm more likely to win a tournament in Tasmania than Brisbane. What's going on with that?
Well, technically, this isn't my home water. I'm from Wollongong, so...
So Lake Illawarra is your
I'd love to fish one out of there.
There you go. So, Blake, thanks for coming in tonight.
No worries.
Hope you enjoyed the ribs. Thank you for your insights. Look forward to seeing these. Are these in stores yet?
No, they won't be till... We had a little delay with packaging. It's going to be August now, which is unfortunate.
Right. Just after.
Yes.
You can get your whole. So these are some of the only ones in existence.
Yeah, there isn't any. I've actually used a lot of them.
Allocated. I have a sneaky stash on the Blake. Thanks for coming in.
No worries.
Let's drop to an ad and we're going to come back with Josh Lowry, the man behind for the Queensland Open.
I'll be your beast of burden, an ally in enemy territory, a friend in unfriendly situations. Less than ideal? That's my idea of a good time. Overgrown, nasty, unforgiving, stumps, roots, rocks, angry winds, and mean currents. Throw me in and watch me swim. Mother Nature may be tough. I'm tougher. Lean in, roll up your sleeves, push through to the spots where you can really prove your mettle. Because discomfort isn't a deal breaker. It's just a hurdle between you and hooking in. I'm the kind of motor that'll take you places where chaos is the cost of entry, where the fish are worth the fight, where grit and guts beat glitz and glamour. If you ask me, the bigger the question marks, the better the quest.
Now, one thing with ABT Live is I can admit when I made a mistake. Now, on my run sheet here, it says Jame first, Josh second. So this isn't Josh, this is Jame McKeown. Welcome to the show, mate.
How you going?
We had a good bit of a battle down there at the Australian Open. You took the chockies again.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your comment to Mr. Deeth. You reckon I've only won 2.5 Opens?
Yeah. So we discussed it, and it was probably 2.5 because your first Open win was with Tim, and everyone knew that Tim caught all the fish apparently. So.
And my response to that was, well, you've only won 2.5 Opens too, because the second Open you won was on a tournament where we cancelled the last day anyway.
Yeah, mate.
We all know Daniel Bonacorso or Michael Colley grand worth of fun times there, hasn't he?
Yeah. Probably spent double that getting to those fun times, but yeah, that's.
Let's not talk about return on investment.
We don't think about that. Yeah, it's cool getting the money, mate. But I've always said it's about having the trophies for a year and the badges. So yeah, it's cool seeing those trophies with your name on them, and name on them more than once is even better. So.
Well, you haven't even got your name on this one because I haven't seen that since the last Queensland Open. We better get a new plaque made for that. But Jeff is actually, from after last year, has been living in Josh's office.
Yes.
So Josh, you've been hogging all the limelight, mate.
Yes. No,
you only got him yesterday.
The naming sponsor has been taking good care of it.
There you go. So and how's that for Sponsors Karma? You know, it's a Samaki sponsored event. There you go. Won it on your rod. I actually have dug my C12 out. Because I think I need to Sponsors Karma the hell out of it as well.
You're definitely going to have to.
A little bit of a spoiler. It's only the tournament guys watching this. We did a bit of filming the other day of the new Samaki, the Reddick. Josh will talk about that in a moment, but we're not going to show you any footage of that. It'll get just released it after, but holy hell, they were catching some fish that day.
Yeah. I was talking to Slatey on the way up and telling him about the canals up there, and I said, Morgo put his drone up and said, just go and fish these four pontoons and see if you get a bag, see how you go, sort of thing. And I got a bag off those 4 pontoons.
Like every one. And the cool thing was with your technique, and it's I think the same technique you've used for all of these major wins, throwing the crankbait in, swimming it under the dock, you can see it on the drone, and then it disappears under and rattle. And in Josh's clip, you'll see Josh actually using the technique. You're great. You're an example of, if you share the technique, it doesn't guarantee that everyone else is going to do it as good as you, because you're like me. Like, you think if you do something a lot and you're good at it, you're still going to probably do it better than someone that's just started doing it, and you've shown that because you got all those trophies, and everyone knew how you were going to win them.
Yeah, it's one of them things. It's like Blake has obviously got the crab weight nailed, and it'll take a while for everyone to catch up to his ability to use that. It's not something that you can just go and do straight away and just nail it straight away. It takes a lot of practice, and you'll catch fish, but you'll have to continuously refine and cast and retune and all that sort of stuff to sort of get it right.
Yep. And if you're not doing it right, I suppose the only indication is you're not catching fish, but you could also be in the wrong area and not catch fish. So it's not clear cut whether you are getting it right or not.
Yeah. You start, sometimes you do start to question yourself. It's like, are there fish here, or am I doing something wrong? But yeah, it is one of them things that usually you'll catch the fish if they're there. But yeah, you just need to spend some time practicing with it.
Now, one of the cool things about the Queensland Open is it's getting a real variety of anglers fishing it. We've got some hardened locals here. We've got 3 previous champions. Nicole's got a bit of a graphic here of the field. Let's have a little bit of a talk about the field at the moment. Number 2, number 3, number 17, all previous champions. You've got Blake, you got Anthony Wishy, and Jame McKeown yourself. So how many times have you won it?
2.
2, okay. So you're aiming for your 3 this time. And there's no 2.5 or 1.5 or anything.
No, they're
been won the whole time.
And one was beat. My first one was beaten Wally by 30 grams. So that's a good one. That one.
100%. So looking at that field, I think you're a rampaging favourite to come. But you look at that field. Who are the 3 or 4 anglers you look at and you go, oh, I'm going to just keep an eye on what that guy's doing, because if it all goes right for that person, I might be in trouble.
Yeah. Well, this time of year will definitely suit Wishy and Cashy with how they fish.
They're both good deep fishermen, aren't they?
Yeah. Mchuan is someone that is always sort of there or thereabouts. I'm just going to name everyone.
No, I'm just going through and just.
And I would say, like, Blake knows how to win it, and when we're in the bay, it's his home water.
Yep.
Sam Peck can fish the shit out of Brisbane River.
And you know what? I came in from Mulloway fishing the other night, fished like all night basically, came off at dawn, and then Chris Lonnie and Sam Peck were putting in at West End Boat Ramp. It's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just checking some bream areas out.
Yeah.
I said, go under the Story Bridge to where they feed them, and they sent me a photo an hour later of 100 bream on the top. Trouble is, up in that part of the river, they're only small. I can't find big ones. I've caught hundreds of bream in that part of the river. A 30 is a giant up there.
And it's a long way up there too. So there's those ones, and then you've got Harry Schofield. Luke Rogan's always dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be due any minute now, sort of thing.
Kayak or boat, doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
I don't think Luke's won it before either, and he's always in the top 5.
Top 3, yeah. Harry Schofield did really well last year. You got
he came second, didn't he?
Yeah.
He would have won if it wasn't for you little heartbreaker.
And then you've got Bernie and Chris that have been putting heaps of time in, and then you've got the Southerners coming up. Mark Crompton going for Angler of the Year. He's got to be a danger man.
You know, the dangerous thing about Cromo is he probably doesn't know all of the nuances of the arena, but he will get onto something and get onto that one thing, and he won't know to do anything. He'll just do it.
Yeah. It's
like why we're sometimes dangerous down south, because we only know how to do one thing, and we stick with it. We don't get distracted.
I think that sort of plays into your hand sometimes. I know it does when I go to Sydney or somewhere like that. It's like, I just know these areas and that's where I'm going to fish. Whereas if I'm up here, it's like I know so many areas and it just gets in your head, and it's like you want to be in 6 places at
That's
once.
Right. You're chasing the kilo bream you caught in 1986.
That's right.
You know, it's dead by now. It's gone.
Yeah.
It ain't there no more.
Yeah. So, there's, with the open fields, it's always 1 to 21 there can win it.
Exactly. And I think it's the wild card up here is big bream.
Yeah.
Like, we saw last year, it was an app event. Wally caught a 39 forker in the last 5 minutes on day 2. And it was dead set, it was like 2 or 3 centimetres bigger than any other bream the whole time. And on the app, that 39 is about 1.3 kilos.
Yeah.
That's dead set worth 3 or 4 little fish.
Yeah.
And if you can string together 1 or 2 of those fish, man, you're going to be hard to beat.
Especially this time of year, like we've got the spawn sort of time of year. So it's like you will get a lot of fish around that sort of 30s, early 30s. But that one big one will be crucial.
That's right. The 3 kilo bags are sort of, they get you up there, but it's that 3.5 or maybe even high 3 kilo bag that makes you that distances you from the rest of the field. And at this time of year, they aggregate to spawn. So places like Caloundra and mouth of the Brizzy River and Amity and Jumping Pin and the Seaway, you get bream that turn up from all sorts of weird places they don't get fished, and all of a sudden they're in a school of fish and they're susceptible, you know, and these fish mightn't be heavily pressured. So you know what it's like when the deep guys get on those bites, they can put some hurting on them.
Yeah. We saw Steve Wilson when he won the qualifier at
two awesome days in a row.
Yep. So that's what you can do. You just got to find that area that's got the bigger ones in with the schools and try and get them to bite.
Now, one of the things that's happening at this Open is a couple of the interstate, well, Slady's not an interstater, he's from Yeppoon, but Slady and Jono Fitzgibbon are both caretaking the office for me. So Slady's bedroom is literally right here. Last year we set him up with Bones. Bones and Slady were having a bit of a cuddle. This year it's Jono. I think Jono's going to be sleeping out the back there. But those two guys, if you're going to rob my tackle room, this weekend's not the weekend to do it, because those boys will be defending it pretty hard. But they're basing themselves at the office here, and it's great to be able to, look after some of the guys that look after us when we go go away.
Slady's coming fishing with me on Friday.
Oh, you're taking out for pre-fish?
Yeah.
I took him for a pre-fish last year.
Yeah, show him around some of the bay spots. So it'll be good. And then he can return the favour when we go on the Barra Tour.
So there you go. This is an investment in your own future,
that's right.
isn't it?
Thinking ahead.
And Mick's put the effort in. He comes and he does the Gold Coast events, and I'm sure he might come down to the Tweed as well. He did well at the Tweed last year. Got his full limits.
Yep.
So Slady, you're one of our outside picks to. I know Jamie didn't mention you, but I'm worried about you, mate.
Yeah.
You're going to catch a couple of those big ones, and there's going to be all sorts of trouble.
He's a bit of a closet-y sort of brim guy.
Mate, if Slady wins the Open, there will be a strut happening from Sunday until the end of the Barra Tour.
100%.
The world's best strut it'll be. And I think his number one cheer squad will be Collie Brett from
Definitely,
Rocky. Will be
definitely.
like, I taught him all he knows.
Yeah, definitely
We know
will
that
be.
Cole will be jumping right on that bandwagon and right on it.
Yeah, he will.
So you are correct. It's a great field. It's 100% payback. So I've already written $5,000 on that check back there. So someone's going to get their expenses and a little bit more covered. Someone's going to take home that trophy, and later on we're going to take a photo with you and those 3 trophies, because I don't think anyone's had all of them at the same time before. Let's do what I promised we're going to do earlier though, and we're going to go and check out a bit of B-roll from our filming day, and Josh Lowry is going to give us a bit of a history on himself, and in particular the Samaki Redix, which have been kicking it from bass, for brim, and for barra.
Yeah, so a bit of background story about myself and Samaki. It's I guess as a young age I had a huge passion for fishing, as a lot of our viewers do and a lot of our following supporters do. I mean, it's a great sport. I think it's the best sport in the world. And at a young age I was fascinated with lures. My first job was in a fishing tackle store. I worked there for over 10 years, and I was addicted to all the Australian-made lures. Before the Japanese sort of started to inspire into Australia, there wasn't a lot. There was, a few Rapalas, which I caught my first flathead on a lure, and I was addicted from that day. And then as things have evolved, I've learned, just buying different bibs, swimming in my pool. We didn't have the luxury back then of making all these trick suspending jerk baits, because the technology just wasn't there. And then as we've evolved, I've moved up from the Central Coast, so I did a lot of bass fishing down in Lake Glenbourne and Lake St Clair. In my younger days, I spent every second weekend there, but it was never. And then I've now transitioned up to the Gold Coast about 4 years ago, and it's just opened up a whole new world for lure development, because even though that it's not that far away, there's a lot of different techniques that you have to chase these fish with to be the number one lure. And the tournament scene these days, you have to be at the top of your game, not just an angler. You have to have the best gear, the best line, and the best lure to be in that podium. And that's probably our big thing being Samaki. We don't half-ass stuff. We just try and make stuff that is, in my opinion, is the best in its class. And this 40mm lure, I'm pretty sure you'll see that come out if you buy one and you start throwing it around. But yeah, a lot of pain went into it. Definitely took longer than I thought. Jame was definitely part of the reason to make this lure. He kept hounding me to make a 40mm crankbait, jerkbait style lure for exactly this technique. I thought it would only take me 12 months. I said, mate, I'll have a prototype in 12 months. Well, it's taken close to 3 years. The time you adjust to make a small 40mm suspending lure is not as easy as I originally thought. But it's pretty good to know. It's pretty good to know that someone like Jame now has picked this lure up. He's had 2 of our prototype samples and caught a lot of fish on them. And now we're pretty happy to release a full colour range in the Reddick. So Jame talks about the MS40 actually mostly. So it's a little bit shallower diving than the other version here. So this MS40 is probably really good for fishing these pontoons and fishing boat hulls. However, we do have another version which he hasn't had a chance to use yet, and it's a DS40. So it just is a deeper diving. So if you're fishing deeper rock walls, longer flats and stuff like that, also going into the bass scene, not just the brim fishing scene, this lure is going to be really, really good. So a big feature of the 40mm lure, you need a certain size to be able to have enough weight to throw these lures, because as you can see, we're throwing these tiny baits right up past pontoons. You're trying to get them as deep as you can so they can pull out under the pontoons or the boat hulls. So the big main feature of the MS and the DS40 is a magnetic sliding weight internally. And what this does is as you cast the lure, the weight transfers from the center of the body to the rear of the body, so it makes it very accurate and obviously gives you more distance as you do those long, accurate casts. As that lure lands in the water, as soon as you start to crank, the lure tilts down and that magnetic weight gets pushed back and slide to where it started from. So it keeps the action perfect and makes it suspend perfect. So the whole Reddick family started close to probably 7 years ago. The big one out of the gate, I was fishing up in Darwin. A lot of big shallow floating long jerkbait styles. We were up there fishing and there was just a lack of premium quality jerkbait. So I started up there using a longer SF 125 and SF 150, which is quite a big bait, which the NT guys love in that saltwater scene, which then went into an 80 mil jerk bait, which is has become extremely famous, especially in the barramundi scene and specifically in the impoundments. That was kind of put Reddick on the map and really got to show everybody on how good these lures are, because we did do a lot of effort to develop this range, not only to make the action perfect, but to make them as strong as possible in its class. And that's a big thing. Barramundi can be, they're brutal draws on them, but it has now proven, as you've seen through the ABT, not only myself and Tommy Wood, but Morgo and a lot of the other anglers now are now confidently throwing DS80 Reddicks, which has now evolved into more saws. We have a 90 mil now, because some of the guys that were in the saltwater scene saying, I wish you had heavier hooks. And we're like, we couldn't put heavy hooks on the 80 because it killed the action. So we've made a new 90 mil, which is available in a medium and a deep, but we run a decoy YS81, so extremely strong barramundi treble, great for fishing heavy structure when you need to extract fish before they brick you. And over time now that's developed. We've now developed a 60 mil long cast jerkbait as well for the bass scene in 2 depths. And then obviously the one we're talking about today is the 40 mil long cast for bream. So we've really worked hard to bring out a bream series, a bass series and a barra series, and that all falls under the Reddick family. And you know, one big comment I've got to make is Jame Ugg boots. I mean, he rocks them in style.
We're back. Jamie was trying to sneak off there. I said, mate, you've got to be in here with the close. I'm actually going to make you do the closer now that you're trying to sneak off.
Thanks for watching. See you later.
But not yet. We got a winner first. The winner was from YouTube. Going to win this great box of tackle here. Need to reach out to us on Facebook on our ABT page. Send us slide into our DMs. Is that how you say it, Nicole? Slide into the DMs. Luke Nova from Mirrabooka. Novak. What did I say? Novak. Oh, he's got a car there. Luke Novak. I think you're an ABT competitor, Luke, from Mirrabooka, New South Wales. Blake was on the Google Maps. He knows that's from near Morisset, down near Lake Macquarie Way. So there's some baits in there that are going to do you good, Luke. So shoot us a message with your preferred postal address in there, and we will get those out to you before the Queensland Open even starts. You won't get them before the Queensland Open starts because Australia Post will take their sweet time doing it. But that's it for tonight. Remember, if you want to follow the Samaki BREAM Queensland Open, you go to abt.org.au, go to our website. Nicole will have the live scoreboards up there. We've actually got a really cool live show happening for an hour or 2 on Sunday. Who's our special guest for that, Nicole? Chris Lonnie's going to come in, and we're going to try and twist Joshy's arm to come in maybe. It's going to happen from here. It's going to be like the Australian Open, except a little bit more compact. We're going to have observers on the water. They can send us interviews and all sorts of stuff. So it'll be a good spectator event, this one. You can follow Fish by Fish as Jamie catches it, Fish by Fish as Blake catches it, Fish by Fish as I'm catching it, times another 17 or 18 anglers there. So if you've nothing to do on the weekend, follow that Queensland Open. And now, closer.
Thanks for watching. See you later.